All right, it's 2:33. I think people are still streaming in, but I know everyone is busy, so let's just start without any further ado. First of all, a very good afternoon to one and all. Thank you so much for spending time with us this afternoon, and we are absolutely delighted to have you join us today. Look, we know that it's 2:30 in the afternoon. You may just had your lunch and maybe just feeling a little bit sleepy. So if you haven't got your coffee or tea, please grab one as you sit through the next hour with us, joining us in our Technology Jobs webinar. And we'll look forward to keeping you energized and engaged for the next 1 hour. My name is Erin, and I'm your host for today. So I'd like to first provide a quick rundown of the agenda today so you know what to expect. We will start with a brief introduction to SORT for those of you who may not know us. We will then move on to share some of the active roles we are currently recruiting for in the technology sector, as well as some of the trends that we are observing in this economic climate. There will be a Q&A session at the end of it. I've sent out an email to all of you asking for questions, and I've received overwhelming responses, so thank you so much for that. We will aim to address all of the questions depending on how much time we have. But if you do have any questions that pop up in your mind as you listen to the presenters, please feel free to type your questions in the chat, and we'll hope to address them at the end of the session as well. So we have set aside an hour for today's webinar, and knowing that all of you are busy, let's just dive right into it. I'd like to start with a quick introduction to SORT. For those of you who may not know us, we are a leading digital recruitment company, and we are headquartered in London. Globally, we have got 10 offices, and Singapore is the Asia Pacific headquarters. What makes us different from other recruitment agencies is that, well, a lot of recruitment agencies recruit across a variety of roles like supply chain, sales and marketing, finance, accounts, HR, so on and so forth. For SORT, digital is all that we do. So we are truly indeed a specialized digital recruitment company. The next slide shows our global network, and the latest addition to the family is our office in Cape Town, South Africa. And this is an office which we opened only just last year. So we are expanding, and we will continue to expand in markets where we do see opportunities. In APAC, our offices are in Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, Australia, and New Zealand. The services we provide in SORT can be broadly classified into 3 categories: permanent recruitment, contract hire, as well as retained search. I will skip permanent recruitment because I'm sure all of you are familiar with permanent recruitment. For contract hire, these are typically when clients come to us for fixed tenure employment, and the tenure can range anything from 6 months to 2 years, depending on how long the client needs the talent for. Some of the clients we work with in contract hire are Google, Facebook, Discovery, Circus Life, just to name a few. And for retained search, these are typically senior level searches, usually at a C-suite level, whereby clients pay us a project fee upfront and retain us to work on the roles exclusively. So as I mentioned earlier, SORT is a digital recruitment company, and the 4 pillars that we recruit for are creative, sales, marketing, and technology. So for this webinar, we will only focus on technology jobs, but if you have friends or colleagues who are in the other 3 sectors, creative, sales, and marketing, and they are open to explore opportunities, or even if they're just happy to have a conversation and find out what's happening in the market, we are really more than happy to chat with them. So feel free to have them to connect with us separately. I'd like to now introduce you to the SORT team who will be presenting to you today. So first of all, this is me. So now my name is Erin, and I head up the SORT office in Singapore. I've been a recruiter almost all my life, and the sectors I recruit for are in digital marketing, PR, and communications. I will now pass on to my colleagues to introduce themselves and share with you the current roles they are currently recruiting for, as well as some of the trends they're observing in the market. So over to you, Clarissa.
Thanks, Erin. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you once again for sharing your time with us today. And I hope you're all safe and keeping well. Just a little background about myself. I have been working at Salt, well, coming to 6 years a month from now. My technology recruitment experience spans from when COBOL mainframe and Visual Basic were pretty much in demand, up to the latest, such as your Golang, different JavaScript frameworks. So I have pretty much seen the changes in the technology landscape for the last 10 to 15 years. The roles I focus revolves around obviously software, and this cuts across all levels. So from your junior, mid-level up to your architect, director, and at times CTO. I cover almost all industries since software engineers are needed in all domains. But for the last 3 to 4 years, the focus has been more on e-commerce, fintech, and startups, and still banking and finance. I had the opportunity to help ramp up the software engineering teams from ground up for a few startups and e-commerce in Singapore. So please reach out to me, add me on LinkedIn so we can keep tabs. Let me pass on to Eva.
Thanks, Clarissa. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet all of you here. Hope you all are safe, and thanks again for your time. I believe some of you here already know who I am, and some of you don't. So let me just do a very quick introduction, right? So I started my recruitment journey like around 5-6 years ago, and back then I hired for almost every spectrum of IT. I covered software engineering, IT infrastructure, IT security, ERP, like SAP kind of roles, and also a bit of BA and PM's roles, right? Then I moved on to a smaller area of specialization, which I'm in now. So in an area of DevOps and cloud, IT, IT infrastructure, IT security, and a bit of QA. So I work, with different industries, and we are kind of like industry, agnostic. So to name a few, right, we work with industries such as like banking and finance, e-commerce, insurance, fintech business, or even product companies, and and so on. So recently I've placed different people in different businesses. So I placed like recently like head of security, DevOps engineer, QA automation engineers, security consultants, even PMs, so to name a few of that, right? So this is only a short introduction about myself. If you have want to know me more and like to have a chat, can always connect with me via LinkedIn, after this session. So now I would like to pass on to my colleague Elton to introduce himself.
Thanks, Eva. And hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. So a little bit of myself. I've been with Salt for close to 2 years, supporting clients and my candidates with technology sales opportunities. I had some interesting opportunities and engagement with clients with building their pioneering sales team members in Singapore. And I mostly support my clients and candidates in areas of pre-sales, sales, account management, partnerships, and customer success roles. So some interesting areas that I focus on are technology companies, fintech, and SaaS companies. So feel free to connect with me over LinkedIn. Feel free to drop me a note as well. We can speak further there. And I will pass it to Clarissa to share more about software engineering opportunities. Over to you, Clarissa.
Thanks, Elton. Now, let me share with you some of the jobs that I'm still actively searching for my clients. So the first one is a software engineer, which requires Golang. So I will need at least 2 years of experience for this. A couple of my clients are looking to hire this role. So they are in e-commerce, fintech, and blockchain. They are all building the teams in Singapore, so they need someone who is fairly experienced in Golang. Now, for the senior front-end engineer, I will need expertise on React.js, React Native, and TypeScript. I'm looking for a strong JavaScript background. So we are looking for more than 7 years in JavaScript alone. And React will be at least 3 years. You need to have an experience in developing responsive websites from high-powered desktop computers to mobile devices. Ideally, you have an appreciation in some UI UX as well. And this is for a blockchain and insurtech client. Same thing, they are building the teams here. Now, for the mobile developers, for the senior iOS, I will need Swift and at least 5 years of experience with that. Same with senior Android, I'll be needing Kotlin, Java, and React Native. So these two are for my blockchain and e-commerce clients. My client is building, well, they're actually building next generation web applications for a world-class exchange. You will implement new features, write client-side code to create super fast, easy-to-use hybrid in-app pages. Ideally, you have published at least one Android or iOS app. Now, for the for the software engineer, my client here is open to consider those who have less than a year of experience, but what they are looking for is someone who has strong mathematics background. This is for an AI tech startup. They have a pretty high standard for their engineers, so you are sure that you will be working with the smartest in the industry. Now, for the senior C++, this would require at least between 12 to 15 years of experience and working in an environment where latency and speed are factors. So, for example, your finance or your banking companies. You should also have some understanding of DevOps and API for this. This role is for a blockchain company who is building their presence in Asia. Now, for the senior full stack role, either you are strong on Java or .NET, plus working on the latest front-end frameworks. Working on digital projects is a definite advantage. So if you also have mobile development, it is going to be a big help too. This is for a global consulting company. They focus on digital transformation projects. They are a Swiss-based firm and has opened in Singapore 2-3 years back with a view to expand their presence in Asia. Now, if you have a GitHub profile, all of my hiring managers for all of these roles will be looking for that on your CV. So don't forget to put that on your CV. Now, just to share a bit of insight on what's happening in the software engineering space. I chanced upon this article, and according to one job site, the two most in-demand jobs over the last couple of months are still your software engineer, full stack, and even architect roles. So if you're looking out for opportunities or just curious on what's in the market or are self-isolating and have extra time on your hands, learning how to code or advancing your skills could help you your career. According to this article, here are the languages with highest salaries worldwide, and over the last year or so, I have seen this demand myself as well. So I hope if you have one or two of them, I think it's time to also retool. So you will have your C++ or JavaScript, Python, TypeScript, Ruby, Scala, and Go. Now, while some hiring managers don't really require an applicant to know a specific coding language, because the coding language skills are often transferable across languages, it does help to know which languages are associated with this highest paying jobs, or at least the most in demand in the market now. Now, you might ask which industries are still hiring at this time. First would be technology. What can be under this? This is your health tech, your fintech, your agri-tech, insurtech, edutech, esports, and online gaming. Obviously, tech giants are still hiring, your Google, your Amazon, your Facebook. And some other industries would be accounting, legal, manufacturing, healthcare, government, and of course, banking and financial will always be there. Now, you might also wonder what to do next, since we are all preparing for a post-COVID economy and job market. But COVID and pandemic aside, it's always good to build resiliency into your career to safeguard yourself when faced with disruptions in the market. So a few of them be continue networking. Since we are all still on the stay-at-home orders, it's a great opportunity to update your LinkedIn to ensure your personal brand reflects the type of network you wish to attract. Attend virtual meetups such as this, and nurture your networks even when social distancing. So I'm sure some of you are doing personal projects or freelance works. Continue to do that. Actually, one prediction for the post-COVID job market is that rather than looking for full-time employees, businesses will continue to rely on freelancers and consultants. So you should approach your career with an entrepreneurial mindset. Improve your skill set. So evaluate your tech skills, but also your soft skills, such as your communication and other transferable skills. Those skills that are valuable in a variety of positions and industry. Look into your data literacy skill, your critical thinking, adaptability, flexibility, teamwork, and creativity. Now, online presence. So apart from LinkedIn, which I've already mentioned, where else can you go to let them know of your presence? Maybe you want to create your own website. Even if you don't have a business, you can still, market yourself through this and use search engine optimization techniques to help potential employers. Now, find online communities that interest you and become an active participant. I think, long term, you want to align yourself with business and technology trends that are on the upswing. Trends can speed up, slow down, or reverse themselves. So you also want to identify the ones that look to be sustainable. Having a singular focus on just the back end or just the front end of applications is not the best way to stay employed now. Hiring managers are looking for full stack engineers. Some valued software engineers may still be stronger on the back end, again, than on the front end, and they will be valued for those, for their expertise. But they should understand the entire chain of software needed to create compelling products and applications. So, in general, developers should be wary of getting locked into any commodity skill set and deepen their understanding of the business context of their work. You need to be more than just the stereotype of the developer in the back room doing heads down coding. There's a little room for some of those people, but not for very long. And while this may seem like an opportune time to be on the hunt for your next opportunity, consider the fact that this is an uncharted territory for everyone, applicants and hiring managers alike. So we are all in the same boat. So just don't give up. Keep pushing forward and use this time to upskill and arm yourself with new technologies and new skills. So I hope these are helpful to get you started in your search. Now, let me pass it on to Eva to share more about her roles and trends in her area.
Thank you, Clarissa. That's very insightful, especially the last part. I love it. So, hi everyone. Again, I've put a few roles that I'm currently working on to share with you all today. So first, let me go through one by one. So the first role that I would like to talk with all of you about would be a DevOps engineer role, junior and senior level for some of the industry that I'm working with, like for example, like fintech or e-commerce. So what I'm looking for generally for this particular role, I need someone with strong automation experience. When I say automation experience, a lot of hiring managers or employers at the moment in the market, they prefer using Python scripting for that. So I guess if you have a Python scripting experience for automation purpose, that would be good, right? Other than that, if you have strong experience with cloud platforms, that would be beneficial as well. Regardless whether is it AWS or GCP or even Azure. So either one of them is also okay. And you should have a prior experience, creating CI/CD pipelines. If you have also experience in containerization experience, that would be even perfect. Tools such as Docker. So these are a few pointers that what I'm looking for my DevOps engineer role. In case you have further question about this role, can contact me after this as well. Now, move on to the next role that I have, which is a senior cloud engineer role for one of the financial services in the market. I want to share with you all this very interesting role because especially when inside the financial world, right, a lot of business or a lot of large organizations, they're currently moving. This is what I noticed. They're moving from a private cloud environment and they are moving to a hybrid. So meaning that they need someone with strong architecture experience, right? Why you need that? Because you need experience, to do certain design and implementations of pilots in clouds. So in order to do that, you should have strong experience, in cloud architecture. Not only that, if you have experience, in the DevOps environment or the tools such as Docker, Kubernetes, that would be great. And if you have also experience in using any infrastructure management tool, such as Terraform or Ansible, that would be also great, right? So this is an interesting role that I have with one of the financial firms, in the market. So now, moving on to the third role that I would like to share with all of you today would be an Agile PM role for one of the blockchain business that they're working closely with. So this Agile PM role is a bit unique in a way that it's a bit like technical PM / program manager. So this person would be taking care of the entire project / programs for the business. So you will take care of all the end-to-end process within the project management lifecycle. What do I mean by that, right? It involves like, budgeting, your resource management, up to the implementation maintenance level, right? So not only that, the reason why there's an agile word in the title, right, is because that, you need to come from a technical background, because you need to work very closely with your development team, your QA, your DevOps, your product owners to ensure that all of them, they are practicing agile methodologies in all their practices. So this is an interesting role, in fact, also challenging, being honest, for this client of mine. If you come from a banking or even a fintech industry, that would be an additional, bonus to apply for this role. So that's it for, Agile PM. Moving on, I also have a senior system engineer role for one of the fintech business that we work very closely with as well, right? This role, despite the fact the title is, system engineering role, but based on the conversation that I had with my hiring manager, this role would evolve eventually, moving to a full-fledged DevOps role. So if anyone who, you're not in the DevOps space yet, but you're interested to go in, reach out to me to speak about this role. So what my hiring manager is looking for is you should have some, strong Windows background. If you know .NET programming, that would be perfect. And if you have done a bit of automation, right, a bit of automation in your current job or even in your own projects, personal projects, that would be beneficial, be it, Python or even PowerShell, right, depending on what kind of environment you're coming from. So that is, what I'm looking for this particular role. Now, moving on to the last role that I would like to share with all of you today. It will be a senior network engineer role with one of an e-commerce business that I'm working with. So for this role, I need someone, strong with experience in data center. When I regards data center, I don't mean only remote data centers, but I need someone with strong, handling physical data center. And if you have strong experience in Cisco or even Huawei products, that would be even perfect. So these are the 5 example roles that I can share with all of you today. So in case you need to ask more details or any questions about any of these roles, feel free to contact me as well. So now I want to share with you all about the trends and the insights within the market. Since I'm only given a few minutes, so I'll just focus only on DevOps and cloud, one of the areas that I'm recruiting for, right? So a lot of candidates asking me, Eva, what are the industries we are currently hiring? I'm quite curious, right? I mean, in fact, being honest, DevOps and cloud is still, booming at the moment. It's crucial. And in fact, a lot of industries that are hiring. To name a few of it would be like banking, fintech, consulting, e-commerce, IT products, and so on, right? But despite the fact all of them are hiring, you must understand before you apply the role or you're applying through a recruiter or directly to HR, you need to know where are they at, right? In terms of DevOps or cloud, because every company or any industries, they are in a different stage of adoption in both clouds and in cloud and DevOps practice. So you need to know that, right? So in this season of COVID, right, a lot of candidates called me. Like some of them are coming from like a software engineering background, a system engineering background. They're wondering, oh, I want to venture into DevOps. What should I do now? What should I have? What would the hiring manager looking for in my CV, right? So I would like to address this as well. So I think one of the few things that you need to look upon would be automation experience. If you have little experience in automation experience, in your current job to enhance the software delivery, that would be that would be great, right? You can start off from that perspective and try to look around you. Sometimes your job might not, not allowing you to do DevOps role per se, right? But maybe in your company's environment or even your other colleagues in a different department, they are already venturing into DevOps. They are using, they're changing their culture, of software development, or they are even using different tools, right? Go to them, right? Now is the best time to connect with all your colleagues or even your friends who are in this space that you want to move into, because now we can't go anywhere, right? We have more time, so connect with them. Talk to them about the DevOps tools and what should you have in order to move into this space, right? I think that is something that you can start off with to be a full-fledged DevOps person. Now, there's one more thing that I would like to share with all of you. You all must be wondering that, oh, why did I fail, in my interview, or what is the hiring manager looking for before I go for an interview? So I just want to share with you all, what are the hiring managers, struggling, to find in candidates within the market for either a cloud role or a DevOps role, right? Let's look into DevOps, right? As you all know, especially, anyone who is in DevOps space, in this, job fair, you know that there are a lot of tools, there are a lot of frameworks at the market. Almost every day there will be new tools, right? So, but the question mark here is why? Why are you using the tools that you're using? Why are you using the frameworks that you're using, right? Most candidates, when they go for interview, they will say that, oh, I know this, I know Docker, oh, I know Ansible, I used this before. But the question mark in the hiring manager's mind will be why you are using that, right? I mean, I understand that when you are in a role, your business or your management team have decided that, okay, you know what, this is our culture, we are using these tools. But as a good DevOps person or a good cloud person, right? You must know why. Because when you go for an interview, right, hiring manager has a business problem. They have a problem that they might not even share you during the interview, right? So usually most of the interviews, right, hiring managers would ask you, okay, since you're using, why do you use this? In this project, why you choose this tool rather than the other tool, right? Because all these hiring managers might be business people. They don't know technology. So they need you an expert in DevOps or cloud. Say, oh, what kind of tool should I use now based on my current business problem or technology problem within the organization? So if candidates go in to an interview with a mindset that just to tell you everything that I use, but you don't know why you're using what you're using, hiring manager would find it a bit off, right? So my advice would be, find out why you use what you use, right? Or speak to, if you are not the one who initiated the tools that you're using in your current business, speak to the person who proposed that to the management. Speak to your boss or, your architects in your team or the team that is relevant for this particular space, right? So that is a very huge gap that we notice, in this market. Now, moving on to cloud, another major gap that we noticed, right? A lot of cloud expert or cloud engineers in the market, when hiring managers interview them, the most common feedback that I get is that you're not in depth enough about cloud, right? So I said that, what do you mean by that? Then my hiring managers would say that, oh, I feel like, the more I probe them, they are more like, more administration and operational, but I need the architecture experience. I need the strong, the background on, inside cloud. And that is a gap that I noticed, right? So I just want to share with all of you today that, if you have the chance, I mean, even now we have, a lot of flexibility in timing, we don't travel, take this time to research about it. Maybe in your current role, you don't have the experience. You might say that, oh, I have a separate team doing architecture. Oh, I have a separate team doing that. Oh, I'm only doing focus this. If you are in that kind of role now, take this chance, speak to them, speak to the friends or your colleagues, or the management team to learn about it, right? By having some knowledge, right, it would make you stand out a bit from the rest of the crowd. Only that extra mile, right, would make you different. And I really, really hope that you go out there, right? So these are the two most common challenge that I would like to share with all of you today. I hope it benefits, some of you. So now, moving on. What is in demand now in the market, right? So I mentioned earlier on cloud, definitely. And of course, when it comes to cloud, not only administrative, operational focus, but I think that, the architecture part is coming into the picture. The reason why this is in demand now, because a lot of companies nowadays, they started to move into cloud. Not every business, they have moved on to cloud, right? I believe a lot of MNCs have done that, but there are a lot of SMEs, a lot of big business are doing that. So I believe that if you want to venture into this space or be better in your space, look into the architecture side. Now, on the DevOps perspective, I have a lot of managers telling me that, oh, does this person have a lot of security background, even knowledge? I believe that the term DevSecOps is no longer like an alien, terms for all of you. But the security part is very important, especially during COVID, right? Security has been always coming out like, the hot topic in the market recently. So I think if you're a DevOps person, try to read about them, reach out to, people who are in this space, talk to them. That's my advice, right? So this is a bit of insights about the market, within the DevOps and cloud space. So now I want to share with you, okay, so now I'm at home, what can I do? I need to do something, right? So I have a few, insights as well in, some sharing. I think I agree with Cla. One thing we all can do now is network, right? LinkedIn is a great it's a great platform for you to apply job, or look into the market, but use it, graciously. Use it, use it to connect with people, the people that you want to move into, you want to learn from them. If you are a DevOps person, speak to a strong DevOps person in the market, connect with them, ask them questions. I believe that at the moment in this season, I feel like everyone is so generous to share their knowledge, right? Make use of it, connect with them, right? Not only that, join community, right? Join the groups available in LinkedIn, join meetups. Even at the moment, I saw a lot of virtual meetups events. Go for it, right? I mean, now at the moment, we don't are bombarded with a lot of things to do per day, but it's good for keep connecting with people in the market. So that is something that I can share with you all. And not only that, the second thing that I want to share with you all is CV. You might not look out at the moment, right? Or you might look out after COVID, because a lot of candidates, I'm not very sure whether I want to look out now, maybe only during, after post-COVID. But the thing is, we need to prepare ourselves, be opportunistic, right? You can talk to us about your CV, you can update your CV, but there is like my personal belief, everyone is different. So, so a person, don't use one CV for all, use it for different, catered for different jobs that you apply for, right? So I think that is very crucial. Do that. If you need advice from any one of us, feel free to contact us as well. Lastly, upskill. Either you go for certification or free courses. I believe this would help you as well. So that's from my end. I hope it helps you all, in this space. In case you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me after this. So I'll pass it on to Elton to share more about his space, and thank you so much.
Hey, thanks, Eva. Thanks for sharing all the insights. So for myself, I'll be sharing about technology sales opportunity with you. So the first opportunity I have is actually a pre-sales lead healthcare position. It's with a global 100 tech company. So the reason for hiring is due to their expansion plans. They're looking to add a healthcare evangelist to partner the sales director and capture market share. So a successful candidate should come with about more than 8 years of pre-sales experience in the healthcare sector. Experience with hospital information systems, healthcare workflow solutions, and you should be comfortable with proposing solutions, participating in government tenders, RFP, RFQs, proof of concepts, and demos. So if you're passionate and want to make a positive impact by progressing our healthcare, this is the opportunity for you. So the next 3 opportunities is with one company. They are backed by Sequoia Capital. So the first one is enterprise partnership. You should have experience building and developing partnership program and ecosystem. For instance, you are experienced in onboarding partners, training them to become the subject matter experts with our technology. So some of the partners include, Accenture, Deloitte, technology partners such as AWS, Google, and Microsoft. So, if you have experience really developing this partnership program and ecosystem from ground up, please do apply, and this is an opportunity that is interesting for you. Next one is the customer enterprise sales manager. So you should come with experience with complex sales cycle, selling to large enterprises, preferably with about 3 to 4 years of experience. Just to share some of their customer portfolio, it includes Samsung, Uniqlo, and Singapore Airlines as well. So, but for this, selling SaaS, software as a service, is a must. Moving on to the customer success one, you should be experienced with technical account management, partnering with clients on their technical roadmap, accompanying them with their growth journey. So, for instance, as they grow, they may need additional technology functions and products. You will be the one recommending solutions that could value add. Also, experience with SaaS renewals, cross-selling and upselling would be a plus. So, helping your clients to grow, your company will grow together and creating a win-win situation. So moving to the last two, it's with a fintech company. So this is actually an interesting opportunity with a Wealth Tech 100 company, and they're also nominated for the Global FX Awards. Some of their mission is to help the financial industry to digitalize and actually create deeper engagement with their customers. You will be selling financial solutions, software to people like asset managers, investment managers, brokerage houses, private banks, or even banks. Autonomy will be given to you to develop the market strategy, to develop the Singapore market, and eventually, plans to branch out to other parts of APAC as well. And this is a management role. You'll be tasked to manage the sales team and mentor sales representatives to achieve business goals together. Some of the requisite includes, you should come with 7 years selling fintech solutions, and you'll be leading a team of 2 resources. For the BDE is with the same company. You should have about 3 to 4 years of experience selling financial technology, and you should be comfortable with generating outbound leads and a hunter yourself. So I'll be sharing some insights with regards to some questions that you may have and what we have seen. So as most of you know, we'll be facing a new normal industry, and consumer preference actually would never be the same anymore. Many have digitalized due to this pandemic. We have seen businesses, speeding up digital transformation to engage with their customers, where physical interactions is reduced as a result of COVID. So you may be wondering, what are some of the industries that are still hiring? If you were to ask me, I would say the new normal industries, such as banking, fintech, medtech, edutech, cybersecurity, SaaS companies, online gaming, logistics, e-commerce, and digital transformation. So sometimes, you are wondering, what if I'm not in the new normal industry now? What can I do? So I would actually advise you to focus on transferable skills. For instance, if you're a BD, let's say hunter or selling to enterprises, you can actually take this chance to focus on highlighting your track record. For instance, how many new client logos you bring in, how many new business have you generated due to a result of you joining the company. And some of the things that, you can actually think of how can you value add to the new business that you want to apply for. For instance, you're currently in e-commerce, looking to move to a fintech company. It might be a different background, but if both jobs require you to target the same group of customers, for example, banks, in the downtime now, you can actually take this chance to reflect, focus on how we can create this overlap. This would increase the chance by quite a bit. So if you don't think of how your current job and the new job can overlap, you might decrease a little bit of chances over there. And in the meantime, take this opportunity to network, know what is the latest update of the current technology and industry, learn new skills. We are having a lot of free software out there, Coursera, LinkedIn, and many more. So this is some of my recommendations for sales professional out there. And when we are talking about technology, we can't forget about data. So I'll pass it on to Erin to share more about our data specialization as well. Over to you, Erin.
Thank you, Elton. So this slide gives you an overview of the various job families that we cover within the technology team in SWOT. So you've already heard from Clarissa, Elton, and Eva, who specialize in DevOps testing, securities, software engineering, and sales. So naturally, the big looming question in your mind could be, where is data, right? Because data is such a hot area right now, and there are a lot of roles and a lot of companies that are recruiting in this space. So naturally, SWOT's we do have a desk. We do have a consultant who specializes in data, but unfortunately, she is unable to join us today. So if you yourself are a data specialist, or if you have colleagues or friends, who are in this sector, specializing in any of the roles that we've listed down here, please connect with us. Please send me an email, drop me a note, and I'll be able to link you up with my data consultant. So we have come to the end of the presentation. We have certainly hope that you have found the sharing session beneficial to you. So now we're moving on to Q&A. you know, we have a lot of questions that have come in prior to this session, and I see a lot of questions being shared via the chat as well. So we'll attempt to address all of them one by one. We don't know how many we can cover, but we'll try our best. So I will start with the first question. This is one that came in through email yesterday. So the first question is, what are the specific skill set that would be in high demand during this COVID-19 situation? So team, who would like to take this question?
Yeah, let me let me share my views on that. I think for the software engineers, you know, trends will be as dynamic as you can imagine. Right now, I can see a lot of Golang, Node.js, and React combination, but demands for JavaScript, Java, Python, Objective-C, and Kotlin are still on the rise. And all companies are now digitally based in some ways, so the opportunities to put digital skills to work are countless. Reality is that, you know, technology such as AI, your big data, your IoT, virtual and augmented reality, robotics, it will make businesses more resilient during these challenging times and future pandemics, which hopefully it won't happen again. So anyone who can explore and work on these technologies will be in a great position. And I think, like what I mentioned, apart from coding skills, you know, data literacy is important. Data is a critical asset to all companies. And again, this is not just limited to a data scientist, you know, engineer role. You know, data is useless to a company unless there is a data literate people equipped with skills to understand the data and make better decisions about it. And candidates with, you know, data literacy will be even, you know, be more appealing to employers than ever before. So that's from my end.
I think I can add on to Cla as well. I mean, Clarissa's statement, that's very good insight. So personally for my space, I believe that in terms of like high demand would be definitely cloud experience, right? Not only like, you know, the architecture part. I mean, there's still a lot of, you know, cloud engineer roles out there that is focusing still, you know, administrative and operational role, right? So of course, DevOps is still in demand. But I also noticed that there are more companies, not more, but there's a, you know, that's what I, you know, there's a foresight, right? So there is a part that, you know, companies try to combine DevOps, including with AI and machine learning technologies. That is an interesting part that personally I'm going to explore as well. So if all of you are curious about that, feel free to go there. And I mean, there's another part that is quite in demand at the moment that I did not share in this session, unfortunately, but you can always contact me about it. I believe that security is also another part that, you know, that they are hiring at the moment in the market. That's what I've observed at the moment. So yeah, that's from me.
Thank you, Eva. This question has come in via chat, and I'm reading it now. Do you think it's wise to change job given the current economic climate? I think that would be a question that many participants will want to know. So, Tim, who would like to take on this question?
Maybe since Clarissa and Eva have shared, maybe I'll take this. This is really a good question. So regarding to this, I would share, you know, I've spoken with a number of candidates. They actually ask the same questions. You know, some are afraid to move on and some are actually more eager to make their next move. And, you know, it's a coincidence that, you know, some that were not previously looking out have become active. Some that were previously looking out, they have placed a hold on, you know, their job search. So I would say it really depends on your individual considerations, and it's all about striking a balance. Maybe just a few examples, you know, for instance, if you're currently at your role for more than 4 years, you received an opportunity to, you know, even lead a team or a regional role or moving to a larger organization. So why not take a leap out of your comfort zone? But, you know, on the other hand, you might have some concerns if the company is a startup. Some tips that I would share is, you know, to evaluate certain areas such as potential growth opportunity, because, you know, you will be covering more grounds with a startup. So that's actually a good learning curve. You can also ask, how is their capital funding? Are they backed by reputable venture capitals? And also evaluate the manager that you'll be working with, because this is a crucial part. And most importantly, I think all would agree, don't be afraid to ask. Everyone is actually wondering about COVID, how companies are dealing with it. You can ask them, why are they still hiring? Is there a reason for doing so? This would allow you to, better understand their business plans and direction to um, serve as a security function as well. Just to conclude, we have seen an increase in roles being advertised, meaning that companies are still hiring at this point of time. So we have always thought carefully before making any career moves, just that, given this current situation, we might have to think of more areas. So I think it's all about striking a balance and deciding your next career move, whether, it will be a good one or a bad one. It really depends individually. Yeah.
Thank you, Alton. If I can just add a quick one to that, I think most important is to do your due diligence, because COVID or no non-COVID, right? We always need to really ask the right questions to know whether this is a company that is right for us. Of course, when it's COVID situation, when everybody is a little bit more anxious and jittery about the job situation, the due diligence has to be even stronger. But always put yourself, always have that mindset that it is not just about the company choosing you, it's about you choosing the company as well. So during the interview process, that is really the best time for you to ask all the questions that you need to and have all your grounds answered. So never have the mindset that, oh, because I'm interviewing, is the company that's choosing me. So I need to impress. Always have the mindset that I'm actually choosing you as a company. I have a right to decide whether I want to work for you. So always have that mindset and just do your due diligence. So whether it's COVID or non-COVID, I think the practice should be the same. It shouldn't change. All right, moving on to the next question. I think this is definitely one for Clarissa, because it's around salary for software engineering. So the question is, what is the average salary for software engineering? Don't we all love salary as a topic, Clarissa? Over to you.
Yeah, and it's always a tricky one. I think there's a big range that we are looking here. So for me, it really depends on, the industry, your skills, and the companies as well. Like, for example, for a front-end role coming from a bank, the salary could be between 8 to 12K per month. While for another industry, it could be lesser. It could just be between, 5 to 8. But I think just to, if I'm going to look at it, generally speaking, a junior person could be getting around 4,000, and a senior engineer, and I'm not talking about like being a tech lead here, just purely coding. We're looking at least maximum of 13K. That has been, and this is based from, again, the roles that I've been getting. Good luck on your salary negotiation.
Thank you, Clarissa. The next question has come in, is around DevOps. So I think, Eva, that one would be for you. So for DevOps roles, can I know what kind of interviews employers would use to evaluate the candidates?
Okay, that's a very good question. I assume this person is going for an interview, I assume. So let me just give you some tips and prepare you for that interview, and also everyone here. Great question. There's no like specific like what's the kind of interviews hiring managers typically use, but I can share some of those with all of you, which my current hiring managers are using. First is HackerRank, right? Some DevOps role, they require someone coming from a strong software development background. You might not do development role, but hiring managers might need you to come from a strong background from that space. So that might send actually a test for you to do it. Second thing, which is most common in the market nowadays, is face-to-face technical interview. I mean, at the moment, COVID would definitely go through conferencing platforms. So they would basically ask you scenario-based questions, right? Like what I've shared earlier on in my sharing earlier on. that, you know, a lot of hiring managers would throw you some scenarios, would throw you some even business problems, or might, you know, picture out a certain scenarios and, you know, asking you, how do you solve that particular issues, or what kind of tools or technologies that you would use and why, right? The why part is very important, you know. So I think these are the most common most common interviews people would use in DevOps roles. So I hope this helps. In case you need more, contact me. But yeah, I think that's all from me.
Thank you, Eva. The next question that has come in is regarding EP sponsorship. There are two related questions, so I think we'll answer them in one go. The first question is, will there be positive or negative impact for EP sponsorship due to COVID-19? And can expatriates expect interview calls in the next 6 to 9 months? I think I can take that question. First of all, before I answer that question, I need to put in a bit of a disclaimer because as you would know, EP applications is actually controlled by the Ministry of Manpower, MOM. So they would have their own qualifying criteria and nobody knows exactly what are those. So I'm answering this question really based on what we have seen so far and our own observation and experience in the market. So because of the COVID-19 situation, naturally, there would be an impact on EP, really because different countries are in different stages of lockdown, right? And because of the lockdown, it has also affected travel restrictions. So, you know, when someone travels from another country to here, you know, they would have to they would have to abide by the stay-at-home period. So that would definitely affect employers, because even if MOM approves for the EP, you know, they may not be able to onboard the person, and the person may not be able to travel to Singapore in the first place. So because of that, you know, it would definitely affect EP applications to a certain extent. But of course, if you are an expatriate, you are a foreign talent who is currently already residing in Singapore, then that's a different story, because you don't have to go through the problem, you know, you don't have to overcome that hurdle of the travel restrictions. So whether your EP is approved, then of course it then boils down to a number of factors, right? Whether your skills are in demand, your years of experience, so on and so forth. There is actually a self-evaluation site in MOM, so you can use that site and, you know, answer a couple of questions, and it would then be able to show you would then get the results instantaneously on whether you would qualify for EP. So you may wish to just try that out, you know, to make an assessment for yourself. All right, I hope that answers the question to the attendee who posted. The next one is that I have submitted quite a number of applications. How can I increase my chances of being shortlisted for an interview? Team, who of you would like to take that one?
Maybe I'll go for this one first. I think it's quite a general question, but you know, since this is the case, it will probably fall in the CV submission range. So common mistakes that most of the candidates do is, you know, they put their daily job scope into the CV. For example, what do they do from 9 to 6? You can actually add on, for instance, you know, what happened as a result from the 9 to 6. For instance, you know, successful projects, new initiatives, more towards sales. Common things that I've seen candidates leave out, which are quite important, is actually, you know, sales achievements. How much have you brought in as a result? You know, for example, 0 to 100K or 120%, you know, overachievements. And some of the things that you can focus on is, you know, what kind of industries are you selling to? For instance, selling to banks, manufacturing, or public sector. That could actually make quite a difference in your application as well. The next thing is, you know, some of the technologies that you sold, because most hiring managers are looking for some specific skill sets, like you have experience selling cybersecurity, cloud, or even SaaS. So as Eva mentioned, you know, don't use one CV for all jobs. For just to list an example, you know, candidates coming from Oracle, they may be selling different products such as marketing cloud, ERP, or HCM solutions. So it's really good to zoom into your technology understanding and sales experience, because we don't assume that, you know, just by a glance of the profile you are the right one. That's certainly not the case. It's good to also share some successful case studies, recommendations from your bosses or colleagues. You can actually highlight your interpersonal skills as well, since others are, keen and happy to share good things about you. Finally, take some courses, enhance your knowledge on technology. For those that you are lacking in, as mentioned, there are really good platforms such as Coursera and LinkedIn training as well. So I think this is some insights on the sales side. I'm not sure if Eva and Clarissa would want to add on the technology side.
Yeah, I can add on the technology side. Thanks, Elton. That's very. I think one point that Elton mentioned just now can actually be applicable to a more techie person, right? Would be the achievement, right? A lot of people in the CV, they just mention, oh, their responsibilities and that's all, right? Right? Come up with a segment or a different thing of what you have accomplished in your role, right? For a tech person as well, I would advise put your project, into what all the projects that you have done, or if you have done so many projects, include those, the ones that are highlights, right? But when it comes to projects, right, I also noticed that candidates have the tendency to describe, to show the details of the project, but not what exactly you have achieved or what you have done in the project. That is what hiring managers want to look for. And of course, there are, some candidates also have like 8-10 pages long of CV. My advice is relevancy, right? For you to really nail an interview and you really want to get this job, you must be relevant, because that's the point, right? Why you want to go for an interview. So when hiring manager look into your CV, they want to find out, okay, do this person have the things that I want to have, right? First, about technology. A lot of candidates have the tendency to put all the technologies that into one segment called technical skills. I totally understand that. But have you actually used anything inside that particular paragraph or tables? So write it down, right inside your job description. Put it, what have you used it for? What are the technologies or what kind of environment? Write your exact experience and what what exactly you have accomplished with that, right? I think that is the highlight. And don't simply just write like just description and that's all. Be relevant and be specific. That's why I again want to highlight, it is important to cater your CV accordingly to the jobs. Some hiring managers are very diligent in writing their JDs, right? Look into the JD segment, what they're looking for. If they're asking, okay, example of containerization, write the experience in your CV. Don't say what kind of tools, but what is it for? So that is, a bit tips from my end from the technical side. So yeah, I think that's from me.
Thank you, Eva. A very, very interesting question has come in through the chat. Someone is asking, why do I see some of your email addresses say expand, but other email addresses says we love sort? So that is a very interesting observation.
Very observant, very observant.
So you are correct. Myself and Elton, our email addresses say we love sorts. Eva and Clarissa email addresses say we expand. There is a very simple explanation to that. So Sort and Expand used to be two companies. In fact, we were competitors before, and both companies recruit in the exact same space, which is in digital and technology. But late last year, Sort admired Expand so much that Sort invited Expand to join the Sort family. So Sort made an acquisition of Expand. So we are one big family now, which is why we're all in this webinar. So that's a simple explanation to it. We are still in the midst of going through integration, which is why some of the email addresses have not changed. But yeah, so that is the reason why. Thank you so much for the question. All right, moving right along. We have got maybe about 4 or 5 minutes, so perhaps we will just take 2 more questions. The next one is a salary question, so I think the best person to take it would be Clarissa. The question asks, how can I best negotiate for salary during current times?
I think bottom line is, all employers will hire the right person for the job. At the moment, some candidates are also showing more willingness to be flexible, since I think the mindset is survival. For me, as long as you're not shortchanged and the expectations of the job are, justifiable with the salary that they are offering, I'd say, it's a go. As much as possible, don't get anything lesser than your current or your last one. As a market standard, it has always been 10 to 15%. So as much as possible, and ideally, just stick with that. I hope it answers your question.
Thank you, Clarissa. The next question, I guess, would be best answered by Alton because it's asking about fintech. So, what would be the jobs like in the fintech industry for the next 6 to 9 months?
Okay, that's a good question. Um, I would actually reference this question to our finance minister. A couple of days ago, he actually said that Singapore actually experienced digitalization, where most CEOs and CTOs are trying to push for what would have happened for 5 years. It actually happened within just these 8 weeks. And even the fortitude budget that he came up with focuses on digitalization a lot. Even for SMEs, everyone he's pushing for digitalization. So I would say fintech space for digital transformation, the opportunities is definitely there. For payments, there's a lot, merchant acquisition for payments, such as going out there to get new merchants to join the platform, such as FavePay, GrabPay, Dash. These are some of the opportunities that may come up. Getting hawker centers, restaurant, gyms to digitalize, accept digital payments. I think that would be something that we would see an increase in for upcoming 6 to 9 months. Also, banking clients and technology partners. So to develop technology platforms and banking solutions together. So partnership managers would definitely be some of the opportunities that would come up since then. And for example, people like you and me, when we have nothing to do now, we will look at investment opportunities. So we would see an increase in robo-advisory, trading platforms, and trading solutions as well. So some of the examples are, Stashaway, DigiBank, DBS. So these are actually some of the opportunities that would be up and coming. Probably not necessarily 6 months, maybe in the next 2 weeks or even a month. We would actually see a change really. Yeah. So hope that that provides some insights regarding some fintech related questions. Yeah.
Thank you, Alton. I think we have time for just one more questions because I see a lot of DevOps questions coming in. So the question says, I have an interest to change industry and I have interest in DevOps. What can I do or expect in my job search? Would it be easy for me to secure a role in a different industry?
Wow.
Eva, I think that's one for
I think
you
it's
for
for
sure.
me already. Oh my goodness. Okay. I think this is a very, very subjective question. Let's not generalize this question, right? A lot of candidates, even my personal friends, right? Like my friends, they were also like, oh, can I change industry? The answer would be yes and would be no, right? It depending on the employer that you want to join, right? Whether they are open to the idea that, okay, I don't mind hiring people from a different industry, right? Or with with different industry but with the specific experience. So for someone from DevOps background, definitely you have an advantage because every company that is providing a DevOps culture, the only difference is tools, right? But you kind of know that okay, this is how this is done, right? So it is easier. But moving to a different industry, there is a question mark. It depends on the employers and the interviewers, because there are some of my hiring managers who would still prefer that, oh, I prefer someone who's still in the banking and the fintech area, or even some of my clients from e-commerce, they don't mind someone from a different industry, but they need the at least transferable skills. So I again come back to this question. I think it's a bit subjective, I would say. So yes and no. I mean, I think that's my answer. In case you need opinion, again, you can always reach out to me. You can share with me your CV or your background. What do you really want? Let's do some planning and execution around it. So yeah, that's for me.
Thank you, Eva. We have come to the end of our webinar session. I still see a lot of questions popping in via chat. I apologize that we aren't able to answer all of them due to time, but what we'd like to do is to share with you our contact details in the next slide. So these are all our contact details. Please feel free to reach out to us via email or connect with us on LinkedIn. We have our own Facebook account as well as LinkedIn account as well. So welcome for you to connect with us there, and we love to stay in touch with you. Again, if you're really looking for opportunities or you want to have a chat, want to find out what's happening in the market, please feel free to just reach out to us. We're really more than happy to talk to every and any one of you. So thank you once again for your time. Thank you for investing 1 hour of your precious afternoon with us. We look forward to creating futures together with all of you. Hope to stay in touch and take care. Bye-bye.